Okay, so have you guys heard the word slope before?
A little too much.
A little too much. It's drilled into your head. Maybe, maybe not. We'll
I
see.
forgot how to do it.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah. It's just I forgot how to do it. It's so fun. I forget everything, but so it's fun. Oh, how do I do this? This is annoying. Oh, that's fun.
I was wondering if it was still like the what's it called? The early release.
Yes. Yes, so we're doing short
Yeah,
classes
sorry.
today. Nope, no problem. So, rate of change, another word for that is slope. It's just a ratio that shows how one variable changes with respect to another.
Oh man.
Okay, so we're taking two variables and comparing how they change. When one goes up this much, the other one goes up that much, something like that. When we're talking about lines, then instead of calling it rate of change, we typically say slope. They mean the same thing. So slope is the word that you've heard the most often. When we are finding slope, we have to do it the same order every time so it makes sense and we can kind of compare. So when we're talking about lines, we think rise over run. Okay, if you're sitting in a chair, you have to stand up before you can take off walking. So rise comes first and then run. So when we're looking at that, it's the ratio of the vertical change, which is our rise, to the horizontal change, or we could call that the run, between 2 points. And when you're looking at a line, does it matter which 2 points on the line you pick? No. A line has one slope. No matter which 2 points you pick, you will get the same slope between them. So it's constant for any 2 points. We could look at the same line, every single one of us pick 2 different points, and we will get the same slope at the end. When we write it, we typically do it as a fraction in lowest form. Okay, so technically you could give decimals, but we know when it comes to graphing, it's a lot harder to graph a slope of 0.3 than it is to do 1 over 3. So we keep it in a fraction, but we want it to be reduced. I don't want you to tell me 2 over 4. What would you tell me instead of 2 over 4? 1 half. So put it in lowest terms if you can. And do you remember when you're talking about like equations of a line, what variable do you use for slope? Think about y equals mx plus b. The slope is m. And we'll use that a little more later, but I figured I'd go ahead and throw it in now since we'll continue to talk about that. All right, so when we're dealing with lines, we have 4 options. Either you have a line that is rising. If it's going up, what kind of number will your slope be? Positive. So if it's increasing from left to right, that is positive. If it is decreasing, that would be negative. Okay, what if you just have a flat line? Does anyone know what the slope of that is?
0, 0.
Hello. Yep, absolutely. And if you have a line like this, a vertical line, undefined. And we're going to do some examples to kind of talk about why that is. So horizontal lines, slope always turns out to be 0. Vertical lines, it is undefined. Any questions for me so far? So let's practice finding the slope when I give you a graph. This is all we're going to do today. We'll do some examples of this until I figure it out. Practice view. Hello. Okay. No problem. Bye. You're leaving for a little bit. Okay. So to find slope, we'll do rise over run. See ya. Good day. So that means we pick 2 points, and we are going to set this up as a fraction. Now, technically, it doesn't matter which points on the line we pick, but we want ones that we can tell nicely. Like if I pick this point right here, can you tell exactly where that's at? No. So if at all possible, we'll go for nice ones. That's why I did go ahead and label. And we can see where this is. We can see where this is. So if we are going to start, I'm just going to start at this point. If I'm here, how many do I have to rise?
7.
Okay. Then if I go up 7, I'm right here. How many over do we have to go? 4. All right, I got a positive number. Is that what it should turn out to be here?
Yeah.
Yes, because that line is increasing. What would have happened if I started with this point? Then how would I get to that one? Yeah, so it would be a -7. And then you go backwards, so that would be -4, and 2 negatives make a positive. So we get the same thing in the end. So it does not matter which one you're starting with for your viewpoint. I don't know that I'm going to do all of these. Let's jump down to example 3. We'll start with the odds and we'll come back and do even if we need to. Alright, so if I'm here, pick a point to start with. How many do I have to rise to get to the next one? 0. How many do we have to run? What is 0 divided by 4?
0.
Could you have known that before we counted? Yes, because we said at the beginning, if it's a horizontal line, your slope is 0. This is why. Because if it's horizontal, you don't have to go up to get to the next one. Okay, why don't you guys try a couple? See if you can do 5 and 7 for me. So on number 5, pick your nice points. And again, it wouldn't matter if you pick 2 different ones as long as you can tell exactly. You have to rise 5 and run 3. Looks like we did okay with that one, 5/3. Number 7, you go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 2, so 4 over 2. Would you leave that for your final answer?
No.
No. What is 4 divided by 2? 2. So we want to put it in lowest terms if we can. Number 9, what kind of slope should this one have at the end?
Negative.
Negative. Why do we know that?
Because it's going down 1 by 1.
Alright, so go from left to right, it's falling. So if you start at a point, to get to the other one, I'm going down 1, 2, 3, so that would be a -3. And then I go over 1, 2, 3, 4. So -3/4. What if you had started down here? You would go up 3 and to the left. When you go to the left,
Negative.
that's a negative. Is -3 over 4 the same as 3 divided by -4? It really doesn't matter if negatives on top or bottom. We don't usually put it on the bottom, but it is mathematically the same. Or you can just put it out in front of the entire fraction. Those are all equivalent. What do we think that one would be? Undefined. Why do we know that? It's vertical. But let's say we forgot. We need 2 points. I didn't put dots this time, but you can pick any two. So if I'm starting at this one, I have to rise 2 over, how far left or right do we move? 0. And what is the one number you can never divide by? 0. If you put it in your calculator, it's going to tell you domain error. We can't do it. So we just write undefined. Alright, you guys do 13 and 15. Actually, don't do 15. Do 13 and 14 for me. So 13, our rise is 1, run is 4, so 1/4. 14, so if I start here, we have to go down 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Can 2/4 reduce? Yeah. You just have to divide them both by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so that's -1/2. And why did we need to do that?
Because it should be lowest.
We want lowest term. So if there's anything you can divide by on both the top and bottom, we have to go ahead and reduce that. Okay, do you guys have questions for me? Then I think that's it for notes today. Why don't you guys practice some? So I have a handout for you. I'm not intending it to be homework. We have like 12 minutes, so I think that would be plenty of time for you to do this. My general rule, as long as volume is not out of control, I don't mind if you help one another. Now, that doesn't mean you sit next to somebody and you say, okay, I've got odds, you've got evens, and then we're gonna trade papers. That's not how that works. But if you're working and you're stuck on one, I don't care if you turn and ask the person next to you. I also don't care if you ask me, right? So if you get confused, ask. If you need a calculator, you can grab one off the counter over there.
Can we do music?
As long as I don't hear it, it's fine.